Hi, everyone. Mike Bosela here with you on the program, and it's going to be Insights in Sound. We have a very special guest today, and I'm really pleased that she came up. We've been trying to put this together for a while, and she was one of our speakers at I guess that was a fundraiser back in May, because we were inviting people to invest into Goodwill, weren't we, Shannon? Some of the business people?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, and get close to your microphone there.
Okay.
Reach it over to you. But anyway, that's when I got to meet Shannon. Shannon, what's your last name?
Von Seggern.
Yes, and you work at the Boardman Goodwill store, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you gave a speech. You talked about, and I wish I think Mike recorded it. I hope so. And we were talking about playing it, and I never found out, because I was always hoping we'd interview you ourselves, but we're finally here, so that's good. So we're going to have you talk a little bit about your story, and you spoke. God, you created a great speech. It had to be about 20 minutes or a half hour, but it was so filled with desire and a willingness. You wanted to succeed, and Goodwill giving you a job really helped you get through some tough times in your life. So would you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, sure. As those people that know, I lost my husband. It'll be 2 years in September. And when it first happened, I pretty much knew, after things kind of just started to sink in, I knew I was going to have to go back to work.
Yeah.
And so I started looking for work. And, of course, interview after interview, no one wanted to hire me. Not coming out and saying why they didn't want to hire me, but they did. They didn't have to. The things that they'd say made it obvious it was the wheelchair that was a problem. They'd say you can't stand for very long. You can't do this or you can't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, you would just hear, no, you cannot do it. No, you cannot.
Exactly. That's all I kept hearing was you can't, you can't, you can't.
Right in the face.
Exactly.
Right. That happens to we who are blind a lot, too.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine. That's part of the reason why I agreed to actually speak, was because I knew it was more than just Goodwill. I knew that once I learned what I did learn about Goodwill, I learned that they cater to the disabled. And to me, that meant something, obviously, personally. But growing up, I was around a lot of people that were handicapped. So I've kind of had that in my life most of my life. Even though I may not have been around people that were in wheelchairs all the time, I had a great-grandmother that was in a wheelchair.
Yes.
And she was a huge inspiration to me. And she's kind of the one that still does inspire me even to this day. Even though she's been dead for many, many years, she just is an inspiration when I have a rough day. I think of how she never let life stop her from living.
That's great to have somebody to inspire like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Always call on that inspiration. It's there in the future for any endeavor.
Yes.
So how long did you try to find a job? 9 months to a year?
It was 9.5 months by the time I got the call from Heather. And at that point, I had already moved out to Youngstown from Elyria. So it was a whole different environment for me. New life, new surroundings. Started to make new friends, but still was looking for work, of course. And I had some things that went wrong while I was out here. I didn't have a lot of food. I didn't have a lot because I was on a very strict income, obviously.
Yes.
And I had burned through pretty much anything I had that I was taking care of from when my husband passed. So I was just basically trying to just make ends meet as best I could. And I knew I needed to work, but it was just not going well. And I applied at Goodwill and many other places, obviously. And then the one day I was sitting in the parking lot, as I said in my speech, and I got the phone call from Heather Yeager.
Yeah, Heather Yeager. She's the head of all the stores, right?
She is actually the district. She's actually our not the district manager, but she's our new director now.
Okay.
She was the district manager when she hired me. She was our district manager, and you
got that phone call.
I did.
From her,
I
Heather.
did. I was just sitting in a parking lot. My car was on the verge of going out. I had already lost my washer, and my dryer had already gone out.
Oh my God! They were ganging up on you. That wasn't right. That wasn't right.
No, and you do. You feel like that sometimes with life.
Oh, sure.
Life can be like that.
But then you got that phone call and changed everything.
Oh, it did. It absolutely did. It was just her overall attitude. I was like, she could hear that I was in a bad place.
Yes.
And she just said that one thing that, so would you like to come in for an interview kind of thing? And I was like, well, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
So, yeah, she just made me feel very appreciated. For,
welcome that she wanted you.
Welcome,
She
in the actual work world, because I didn't feel like I was anymore. I didn't feel like I was capable because everybody made me feel like I wasn't. Even though I knew I wasn't. I was.
Right.
I knew I wasn't what everyone was describing. But they don't give you a chance to show what you can do. Or how you've had to learn how to change things in your life to make it work.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing I think that people forget. And for those of us that have had these challenges, like yourself and myself, I mean, when you've had these challenges for as long as we have, you learn how to live differently. You learn how to appreciate every little thing. You want the positivity to stay in your life, because let's face it, negative really doesn't make us feel better. It only makes us feel worse.
Yeah, it does. It does. So when you started out, where'd they start you out? In the Boardman store?
Yes, and I was a cashier.
Cashier.
Yeah, Heather was very careful with everything. She walked me, after we did our interview, she even walked me to the front of the store, and she had asked if everything was at the right level for everything. We kind of just tested things out, where would be the best place to put me, so that I was not feeling like I was in anyone's way kind of thing, and no one ever says anything like that, but, it's nice to, when people go out that extra mile to do things for you. And they still do it still to this day. And it makes me feel not just appreciated, but it makes me feel important.
Yes.
It really does, because here I am. I can't do like the average person can, but I do what I can do, and I put my all into it.
Yes.
And to see how much I'm appreciated for everything I do, it just always touches my heart. So I actually enjoy going to work. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy, giving jobs to those that are just starting out, teaching them, the ins and outs of things, and just always basically trying to have that positive vibe always spewing off of me, so that other people can feel what I feel, that happiness.
Right. I was just going to say that you have a sense of, just wellness or happiness about you since you had this opportunity that you started there at Goodwill when Heather called you. So you could be a great influence on new people coming in to show them around. They're going to feel like what you feel. You would hope that would transpire.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always had a positive attitude. You just had some really bad setbacks that most people couldn't handle. The loss of a husband and the other things all going wrong with you. It was like ganging up on you, but you still had that inner core, something you believed in, your faith or whatever. And along comes Heather and gives you a call. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think it all comes down to, and for those of us that are disabled, I think honestly, everybody has something we can't do. So I guess in a sense, I look at the human race as we all are disabled in some way.
Exactly.
Because there's something that everyone has that they just can't do, or they have a difficult job doing, And so those of us, maybe we are classified under the disability, but at the same time, I'm sure you would agree, I don't feel like I'm any less normal than the next person as far as who I am as a person. You know what I mean?
Right on the money. Hey, you can't walk, I can't see.
Exactly.
That's not who we are.
Exactly.
Right.
It doesn't define us.
Right. And, people don't understand it that don't really have any obvious disabilities.
Correct.
But I agree with you, Shannon. Everybody's something's wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody's perfect. Only Jesus Christ is perfect. You know what I mean? So, and so, everybody's got something. Some people just don't, acknowledge it or realize it themselves. But that's them. But us, you got to get past that. And if you have a nurturing environment, as you do at the Boardman store with Heather picking you, and just how you help people, and that's what I do here. I have a great time with the guys here. There's 5 of us that are all blind here. under Mike Muter's leadership, okay? And we just have the great time. We get the work done, the volunteers. Volunteers come in, we become friends with them, and they realize, hey, these guys can do a lot of stuff.
Right.
I mean, when it comes to the broadcasting and recording and stuff like that. And so they appreciate us, and we appreciate them. And I know the customers up there, the new workers you have to train, I would hope they appreciate you and realize what a gem they have as a teacher.
Thing I think as a boss, I know I do it, and I've heard a lot of other bosses do it, but I mean, I try to always make a point of it, especially with the new people. I want them to know, what I see in them. I want them to know that they're doing a great job. I want them to understand that I'm not expecting them to just catch on to everything like the first day.
Yes.
That it's going to take a little time, but that I'm here to be there along the way to teach them, everything that they need to learn, but also to constantly remind them that they're very much appreciated and they're very much needed, So I want always my people that if I'm in charge that day, or even if I'm not the only one in charge, if I have someone do something or I see that they're doing something because I am a supervisor, I want them to know how much they're appreciated for what they're doing for us.
Well, let me ask you this. Boy, to have this approach, this attitude, was that just your nature? Because you went through some really tough things there with what you talked about, what happened to you, that you could be that encouraging to them. So who encouraged you? There must have been a part of your life that was done. Was that your husband or a parent? Or what?
No, actually, if I had to be completely honest, it would be probably this probably would go to the Italian side of my family. And even though most of the Italian side is deceased, my dad, when he was around, he was part Italian, and his family was all Italian. And the Italian heritage taught me that family, first of all, was very important. But family isn't always just the blood that runs through your body. Family is often sometimes people that are in your life that just mean a lot to you. They do things for you.
Yes.
They're there for you. You're there for them. So, I mean, family to me goes way beyond just blood. And in my life, it has always actually gone more so beyond blood than actual blood itself, because I've only had like a certain part of my family that was actually really good to me, and that was the Italian side.
The Italian side. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stereotype about Italian people of their descent, they're just so friendly and family and oriented to be positive. You know what I mean? That's the stereotype version. I think it's the truth.
I honestly do think that is the truth, because not just because I'm part Italian, but because I was around it most of my younger years, and it was always where I felt where I could just be me. I didn't have to try to be something. I didn't have to try to feel like I was trying too hard or trying to please someone that I didn't need to try to please. I could just be me, and me was always that happy-go-lucky little kid, and when I was growing up, my great-grandmother did. She used to always tell me I was a very positive child despite the life I had at home, because my dad wasn't around a lot. And I'm okay with sharing this because I want people to know that, I kind of do come from a broken background. But if you ever get to really know me, and anybody that really knows me will tell you that I am a survivor, but I'm also someone who thrives. And when I say I thrive, it means I always thrive at the best for everything.
Oh, that's good advice. That's a good approach to life.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I'm sure that rubs off and shares with the people you train. So is that where you're at now, training people? And are you the boss of the Boardman store?
I am a supervisor, so I do train all of the cashiers, or obviously anyone that's coming into the store that's going to end up, having to work the cash register. So if there's any other supervisors that were to come in, or a manager, they obviously are still going to have to work with me a little bit, because they need to learn the front end, and it makes me feel good that I catch on to things the way I do so quickly. But it also makes me just feel good. I love to teach. I can't say I don't. I do. I actually love to teach. So when I get to train it's, for me, it's like the best high ever, because I'm watching someone new catch on to things, and they're all excited about this new job, and I want them to feel that same sense of excitement, but I don't want it to go away. I want it to stay there, because if it's just about the job, then it's just a job.
Yeah.
But for me, Goodwill isn't just a job. To me, it's like a second family to me. And everywhere I look when I go in the store, whether it's a customer or one of the people that hasn't seen me, maybe I haven't worked a shift with them in a little bit, it's always great to hear someone, hey, we missed you, or, as soon as you go in the store, everybody knows who you are. But the customers love it too, because they know that I know who they are, and I think that's where that particular connection lies, is for those of us that are working with Goodwill. We need to be that extension constantly with our customers.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. We're all like walking advertisements for Goodwill that work here, that what we do, we deal with volunteers that come in and read.
Yeah.
And we get to know them and become friends. And it's more than just like you're coming to do something for us. We really care about these people. And that's the attitude we have around here. And I imagine it's a nice atmosphere in your store in Boardman. I mean, that you pass this along to the people you're training, that, hey, this is more than just a job. You're influencing people, and they feel good when they come here and do shopping, and they're doing something good by helping us, right?
Yeah, exactly. And when people don't know, that's the other reason why I also like to train, because they get to hear me rattle off things about Goodwill. They get to hear me tell people why Goodwill is so important. Why is Goodwill such a great organization? It's not just because they're nonprofit. It's because of what we do for people. We help people.
Yeah,
we are there to help. When the explosion happened downtown, we were there to help. We are there when our communities need us.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't really know about Goodwill, and that was the biggest thing that bothered me the most, I think, when I realized what they had done for me, and I started hearing how many people would listen to basically gossip, saying how Goodwill, does this or that. And I'm thinking, no, you really don't know what Goodwill does, do you?
Yeah.
Goodwill does do so many things. I mean, we help people with so many things. I mean, it's amazing. I tell all of the new people when they're coming, if they come in and they haven't had their orientation yet, I always tell them, get the tour of the plant, because I did, and I was so glad I did, because I learned so much more about Goodwill just by taking the tour, because Julie was great.
Yeah.
She was absolutely great. She explained things, got to see so many things that I didn't expect to see. I mean, the reupholstering of furniture. There's so many people don't even know what Goodwill does behind the scenes. Right. They only think of the Goodwill stores, and they think of clothes or something.
Right.
They're not really thinking of all the things that Goodwill really stands for, and why it's such an appropriate name for them. Yeah. It really is. It's just such an appropriate name for the organization itself because of what we do.
I'm glad you got to come and tour the overall building.
Oh, I was too. I am too. And I love sharing it with people when they don't know, and just seeing that excitement in their eyes, just like their eyes just kind of light up, like wow, kind of thing. Like they do that, and you're like, yeah, and you're like, they. It's like you just changed their mind about something, Well,
there's so much good going on here. There really is. There's a commercial. They talk about do some good in your neighborhood, and that's what's really happening here.
Yes.
I feel at the Goodwills with the people, and we have so many different disabilities. I kind of like that. We represent people who are blind. You use the chair, and there's other disabilities.
Oh, absolutely.
And you get to know them and find out deep down they're really people, and it's a worthwhile experience that we do that. Now, you're very happy at the Boardman store. Do you have any ambitions of maybe being the overall supervisor of an individual store? I think you can do it. You certainly got the confidence and the...
It's not that I wouldn't consider it. It's just being honest. Physically, I know that I could not actually work the amount of hours that would be required, and that's just being honest.
Yeah, well, yeah, supervision. Yeah, you got to work 40 to 50 hours.
Yeah.
How many hours do you work now?
Right now I'm scheduled for about 22 most weeks, but I usually end up working a little bit more because it's just how I am. I don't just leave my coworkers in the wind. If I know I need to stay to help out because we're shorthanded or whatever, I like to try to help as long as I can, and sometimes I'll even volunteer my time, because that's just what we do. We all seem like most of us that that do that, we don't do it because we're trying to just do something just to do something. We literally do care about each other. We don't want to leave each other with a big mess. We don't want to just leave things a certain way. We want to help each other as much as we can, and we'll continue to do that even when we're not shorthanded. But when we're shorthanded, I love that in our store is that everyone is willing to just step up.
What a great atmosphere, huh?
And that makes you feel very, very good about what you're doing, and you want everyone to feel like that. So you're hoping that over time you'll get all of the departments running like that, so that all of management feels like we got a great store.
I'll tell you what, that's great that you got that camaraderie and that spirit at your place. And we have that here with the guys who work at the radio station. We feel that too, that, hey, the job's got to get done. Whoever needs to do it has to do it. And we kid around a lot.
Oh, sure.
Have a lot of fun. Tease each other.
Oh, yeah, we do, yeah.
Right, don't you? I mean,
you have to.
Right. You just relieve it, you know what I mean? But when it comes to when you got to do what you got to do, hey, you're right there and you're professional.
Oh, yeah.
You're professional.
And anybody that knows me will know that, every once in a while I'll even crack a joke. It'll be a wheelchair joke. It really will be. Yeah. It'll be a wheelchair joke. And somebody sometimes will just stop and look at me like, you just cracked a wheelchair joke. And I'm like, yeah. Why not? I'm not ashamed of being in the wheelchair.
Right.
No one should be ashamed of being what they are. That's the best way to say it. Don't just say you're disabled. Just say I'm not afraid to be who I am.
Be who you are. Really.
Be who you are. Be
that's
you.
That's important.
Just be you.
Even if you have kind of like a off-center sense of humor, if you get to know someone, you appreciate their sense of humor, right? I mean, absolutely. We're in this together. When you work closely with people, that you learn to like each other and appreciate and accept each other's whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they are, but it's a fine group here, and this must be a great atmosphere in the Boardman store. Yeah. I think it's our number one store, isn't it? Besides, is this one number one in Liberty, or is it Boardman? I think it's Boardman.
I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I don't either, but I'm thinking it's a tie. Let's make it a tie.
Okay.
Liberty and Boardman.
I like to think that my store is a great store, obviously, because I work there. But, I see a lot of great things, and because I've learned so much even myself, I'm coming up to being with Goodwill a year. It'll be a year on the 7th of next month. It'll be a year.
7th of August.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Jeez. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but it's absolutely amazing, and it's amazing when you get customers that have been coming there a long time and they come up to you and they haven't seen you in a while. I had one the other day, an older lady, and she's like, I'm glad you decided to stay. She goes, so many people just give up.
Yeah.
And I knew what she meant, but even though she didn't come out and say it, I knew what she meant. And I love that about people that do that because they try to make you feel like they're not trying to put you out there just because you're disabled. They want to say something to compliment you, but without targeting the fact that you're disabled.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That has something about your personality.
Exactly.
That succumbs, that overcomes that. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yep.
And that's got to be a great feeling.
Oh, it is.
To hear that from customers.
Oh, absolutely. When they tell me they love that I smile all the time, they like that, and that I'm always just so positive. Yeah. And I always am always in a very good mood and give off that nice positive vibe when they come in the store. And that makes me feel good. It does. It makes me feel good.
Really,
so
I could just imagine you with almost a permanent smile on your face all the time. Really,
some
really
people
do.
ask that sometimes if I ever don't smile, but I do have my moments.
Well,
I do have my
does,
moments. Usually, if I'm not smiling and you see me in the store, it usually just means I'm focused. It does not mean I'm in a bad mood because I honestly, it's 100% the truth. I am rarely ever, I don't stay in a bad mood. And people have asked me that. I actually had someone ask me that yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where I was, but I was at some store and some lady asked, she goes, are you always this positive when something goes wrong because something happened in the store? And I was like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I said, to me, life's too short. You know, I mean, and I don't say that just because I'm widowed. I mean, I mainly say that because I've seen a lot and I've been through a lot in my life to just know that if I would have ever taken the bad road, the negative road, I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't have raised 3 beautiful children, you know, while I was crippling. I mean, it humbled me.
Well, sure.
You know?
Absolutely. I can tell that. But, you know, we're almost to the end of the program, so I want you to say, what would you say to people like when over a year ago, you know, before you got the call from Shannon to come in, from Heather, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. What would you say to people? We might have listeners out there who are blind and thinking, you know, they can't do anything, or they're down on their, you know, luck, so to speak, or feelings that they feel useless. What would you say to them when you were in your hour of need?
3 minutes, Mike.
You were depressed and nobody would call back over 9 months, and it took 9.5 for Heather to call you. What would you say to them?
I would say just don't give up. I mean, I didn't give up. I kept looking, even though I wasn't expecting that call. I mean, but I guess that's the best way to say is don't give up, because you don't know when that unexpected call will come in that could basically just change everything and give you what you're hoping for. You know, but if you give up, you won't find it.
Yeah. So never give up.
Exactly.
Never give up.
Never give. It's an old saying that I used to tell my kids. It's a Yoda saying, do or do not. There is no try. And the bottom line to that quote really is, if you think about it, is we always try. If we stop trying, though, that's when we fail.
Well, I didn't get a chance to ask you, how old are your children? Are they adults?
Yes, all my children are grown. I am 52 years old. Most people don't believe that, but I am.
Well, I agree. I thought you were 33.
No,
honestly, I didn't know you had children.
Yes, my daughter is my oldest, and her name is Celine, and she is 28. My middle child is Joshua, and he's 24. He'll be 25 in October, 2 days before Halloween, actually. And my youngest, he just turned 23 at the end of last month, and that's my Zechariah. Oh. So I have a Celine, a Joshua, and a Zechariah, and I'm a very proud mom. Anybody that has seen me on Facebook knows I'm a very proud mom.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like it. It certainly sounds like it. I wanted to ask my engineer, are we near the end, Larry, so we could wrap this up? And
you've got about a minute left.
Wait, could you speak up, please?
Yeah, you've got about a minute left.
We've got about a minute left. Is there anything else you'd want to say? It's just in general, I think you've said so many good things and positive vibes. I guess you could just repeat it, but I am thankful I got to know you. And again, I want to talk to people. I think they recorded it and videotaped your speech. We should use that at all our functions in the future that we had a couple of months ago. It was really inspiring, and everybody at our table, and I'm glad I got to sit at the table with you and Heather.
And people are talking about it. And for anybody that listens mostly to radio, I have been told that it is very easy to find the speech if you are interested in hearing it. The speech can be easily found just by Googling my name. My first name is Shannon. My last name is Von Seggern. And then the word Goodwill right after it, apparently. That's what I was told yesterday.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Shannon, thanks a million for coming up. I'm glad.
You're very welcome.
It took a little bit longer than I thought, but I'm glad we finally did it. And you came up and had a tour of the overall Goodwill building and just saw all the stuff. I know you knew it was a good place, Goodwill, what you do, but to see this building is impressive.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely. Everybody should tour the building when they get an opportunity. It's a great experience. Yep. I really believe everyone should see it.
You get a good vibe from this place. Everybody's thankful to have a job.
Very much so.
I'm thankful that you came up and shared with our audience and gave them some advice about never give up. Never give up.
That's the whole key. Never give up.
Yep. Thank you again, Shannon. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I want to thank Sharon for being here and thanking you for listening to the Youngstown Radio Reading Service. I'm going to turn it back to my engineer, Mr. Larry Carabin. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.